Hi, I'm Laura Horn and I'm here today at Winstanley College where it's Climate Change Week. Let's have a look at what's going on. So Jeff, what's going on here today?
What we're trying to do is demonstrate how much carbon dioxide, CO2 that the college actually puts into the atmosphere every year. What we found out is the volume under the canopy is equal to 1 tonne of CO2. The college on average emits nearly 800 tonnes of CO2 every single year into the atmosphere, which means that we need to plant 800 oak trees just to offset that every single year. That's just in college, the lighting, the heating, not transport or anything like that, just purely electricity and gas in college.
That's a lot of trees. So this is Climate Week, I understand. What else is going on within the college this week?
There is a debate with Greenpeace about the planet. Yesterday we had a mini challenge where 2 teams entered a competition. The winner is being forwarded to the national competition today. Tomorrow we're going to the supposed competition and we're going to select from the recycle bins a winner of a plastic bottle.
Oh, sounds very good. Do you think this week's been a success?
I do, yeah. I mean, the impact that this has had on the students is really good, and you can see the impact the college is having on the world, the environment. I think the overall visual side of it is, made a great impact on the students. So yeah, I think it's been a good success.
So you're in here regardless of what's going on outside. Could I ask you a question? Yeah. How many tonnes of CO2 would you guess that the college produces each year?
50, I don't know. 50.
50? Would you be shocked if I told you it's actually 800?
Yes. I know nothing about stuff like that.
Do you think it'd be helpful if perhaps, in addition to Climate Change Week, we did a lot more to try and address these facts?
Yeah, actually, if they're producing that much.
Can obviously have a really big impact on the environment, just a one college, and then if you think how many colleges there actually are just in the borough.
Yeah, it must be really, really bad, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, what have you two been up to this week in aid of Climate Week?
That? We're building the CO2 under the quad. And also just general day-to-day stuff, just recycling bottles, making sure you don't leave litter. And then in the wildflower meadow behind college, we've been planting seeds. So hopefully by next year that'll have grown, and then next summer we'll be able to spend some time out there, which should be good.
So what sort of things do you do to help to protect the planet?
Well, I turn things off when I've finished with them so they don't waste, and I recycle a lot, and I try and walk.
So do you think climate change is a really big issue that we should be trying to address?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've only got one planet and you don't want to ruin it. So we should do all that we can now, right now.
So Matt, what are your opinions on climate change?
Well, I only really hear about it in the news, but I understand what it does and stuff, so like turn lights off.
So Matt, what would you consider the most important thing to do in terms of trying to protect the planet from climate change?
By reducing the carbon emissions from cars and stuff.
And how practically could you do that?
By making public transport easily available and cheaper.
So at the moment you think it's a little bit overpriced?
I do.
So what sort of things do you do to try and protect the planet?
Being honest, I don't really do anything to protect the planet. I mean, anything above and beyond, at least. I recycle at home, but that's only because we got a bin, and I grumbled about it before it became a regular feature of my life. So I guess I make a tokenistic effort in that way, but nothing above and beyond, no. I read about things because it seems important to some of the fields that I'm studying, because I want to go back to university, and it relates to a lot of the subjects that I'm interested in, but as regards to actually doing something, I'm more of an armchair academic or intellectual on it. So,
are there is there anything that perhaps you're not given enough encouragement to do, which, given extra encouragement, perhaps you'd consider?
I'm not sure. I mean, because I regard myself as someone who knows, a bit about it, and someone who has enough of an understanding to be motivated to do it. I mean, I've been bombarded with images of, the effects of of global warming and of general sort of ecological crises a huge amount. I've read things about it, but I don't do anything. I probably wouldn't go on a march. I probably wouldn't give up my time to do that. So what I'm saying is that you can have all those, you can read all this stuff and still not be motivated by it. You know, you can still take the easier option, and that's what humans do all the time, really. They know something full well, but they'll take the easier option.
So I'm here with Liz from Greenpeace. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the organisation and what it is that you do?
Okay, well, Greenpeace is probably one of the leading environmental organisations. We're an international organisation. Our head office is in Amsterdam, but we've got offices in the UK as well as in 40 other countries. We campaign on environmental issues. We've been doing that. It's our 40th birthday this year, so we've been doing it for quite some time. We've campaigned about whaling, we've campaigned about climate change, about fisheries, deforestation, all these major issues that are affecting the planet and face your generation in the future. So we've been around a while, but still a lot to do.
So we've been going around college today, and we've come across quite a lot of students and teachers who have expressed that they just don't really know what it is that they should be doing. They've told us the obvious little things like turning off lights and recycling bottles, but what sort of things would you suggest for people to be doing to play a more active role in saving the environment?
I think there's different levels of activity that people can do. As an individual, there's lots of important things like turning off lights and light recycling, which really do contribute to a bigger whole. It doesn't look like a lot individually, but when you add it all together, it makes a massive difference. Ford in America have just written a program to turn off all their computers at night at a certain time, and that's going to save them £1 million in electricity bills over a year, and it's going to save huge amounts of CO2 being emitted simply by these computers being turned off. So a lot of little things add up to make a big difference. So I wouldn't belittle any of the little actions that people can do: walking instead of taking the car, using public transport instead of taking the car, recycling, reusing, and questioning whether you actually need to buy something or not, because we're very much in a consumer-driven society these days, and often we get railroaded along into buying things that we probably don't really need. So we need to think about how we approach our lives as well, buy local, all this sort of thing. So they're really important too. But the big changes are going to come by government and industry changing the way that they run the planet. And that's where people can become a campaigner, both on a local level with things locally, things like losing parkland or this type of thing, but also nationally and internationally through taking part in campaigns run by people like Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth to put pressure on government and industry to do the right thing. We've had a very successful campaign, which is still ongoing, about the tar sands in Alberta in Canada, and massive public opinion has sort of swung behind that campaign. And what's happening there is that boreal forest in Canada is being destroyed so that the oil companies can get to the bitumen which lies below the forest, which they then boil up to get oil for the American market. Now at the moment the oil all goes into the American market for their diesel vehicles, but there is a possibility that this oil is going to be imported into Europe. So there's a big campaign going on to stop that. There's lots of issues around that. It's very CO2 intensive producing that oil. It produces 3 times the amount of CO2 per gallon than producing oil from out the ground or from a well under the sea. It's a very dirty process. It's causing massive pollution in Alberta, and that's affecting the health of the First Nation people who live there, who are developing cancers and all sorts of horrible illnesses because of the pollution that's there. So there's social justice issues there as well. So people can get behind campaigns like that and make big changes too, because it's not organisations like Greenpeace or Friends of the Earth or WWF that change things, it's people pressure that does it. And everybody has the opportunity to make a difference. You can do it through going onto websites and signing petitions, by talking to your MP, by talking to your friends, by making people aware of the issues. There's an awful lot can be done as an individual besides just turning your lights off, which is also important.
Definitely, yes. Thank you. This has been a really interesting day, and I've learnt loads about what I can do to help to protect the environment. I hope that for you too it's been very informative, and I hope that it's encouraged you to consider what you too can do to help protect our planet for future generations. Thank you. That was Laura Horn presenting for Winstanley TV. Goodbye.